Hi, everybody. This is Dawn Bennett coming to you again with Touch Remedies. I'm the author of The Touch Crisis, which is coming out September 1st, Tuesday on Amazon. So I'd love, if you are interested in what I have to say, to pick up the book. You can get a paperback copy mailed directly to your house or dropped directly to your Kindle. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about chapter 3 of the book, The Touch Crisis, which is all about wants, needs, and consent. And I feel this is such an important conversation these days. So as I go through each chapter, you may have realized what I do is I tell a little bit of my own stories. So I usually have 3 or 4 of my own stories of what I've done, mistakes I've made, and what I've learned along the way. And then the end of the chapter is all about the science and the research on why physical contact is so important or why the communication is so important. And at the end of the book, I actually have a workbook so you can explore some of these things yourself and really learn how to create your own boundaries, how to become really strong in understanding what it is that you want, what it is you need, how to ask for those things, but also how to ask for consent from other people, even with something as simple these days as a handshake or an elbow bump, right? Because some people don't even want that level of touch right now. So how do we ask, but how do we really create connection, even if people say no, and not take it personally? So in chapter 3, this is about halfway through chapter 3, the scene comes from something I observed at a coffee shop. I'm sure most of you have seen a scene similar to this, but I want you to think about it from the perspective of what each one of the characters perhaps is feeling inside and what's going on, what they're trying to communicate without really communicating. So to set the scene, I'm sitting at a table in the coffee shop and I'm watching these people come in. So I took another sip of my Americano. Enough old pictures, Dawn. Get back to your blog, I scolded myself, reorienting to the task at hand. I transitioned back to my Europe pictures, found a few I hadn't posted online anywhere yet, and downloaded them into a batch from my computer, then up to my blogging program. As I waited for the site to catch up with the sudden demand, I allowed my gaze to wander the room again. The mom and the boy had gone, and the women were wrapping up their coffee chat, empty cups in front of them. It's still busy, but it looks like it's slowing down a bit, I thought, glancing at my watch out of habit. I suppose it's the natural flow of these places. There are still a lot of people on computers doing their work. I wonder if they're in transition for their day as well, or if many of them come here often just to work around people. It would be fun to come here often enough to connect with the regulars. I bet they have a great vibe if they want to do their work here. The front door opened and a pair of teenagers walked through the door. He had a casual, athletic look in jeans and a t-shirt and was intently focused on the long-haired blonde who was completely engulfed in her phone as he held the door and guided her through with his hand on her low back. Poor guy. I can see where this is going already. So many people seem to be immersed in their phones instead of the people they're with. It really is disconnecting all of us. I had a moment of gratitude for my friends who are really good about leaving their phones down unless they're expecting a work communication. But they always apologize that they'll have to look at their phones, and they let me know why. It just seems like common courtesy. I sighed, thinking of my waitstaff friends who complain about people spending longer at their tables because they're on their phones too much. It cuts into social fabric financially and emotionally. It is really sad. The phone-focused beauty flopped on the couch near where the boy had been playing earlier and looked up long enough to give her partner her order and put her feet up on the low coffee table. From the way he's trying to communicate and touch her, it seems like they have a certain level of comfort, but she's not engaged at all. I started laying out my blog flow until I saw him sit down on the couch, a drink in each hand. She looked at him, smiled, grabbed the drink from his hand, and looking back at her phone, filled him in on whatever was going on. Well, he's listening to her, and that's a good sign. Oh, but now she's completely in the phone again, not even talking. She set down her drink and went back to two-handed texting. I watched as he tried to say a few things to her, even touching her on her arm for a moment to try to get her attention as he chuckled and said something he thought was funny. But nothing worked. He received only short and distracted replies in response. She'll look at him for a bit and say a few words, but obviously thinks whatever or whoever is on her phone takes precedence. He set his drink on the table, slouched back into the couch with a resigned look on his face, and pulled out his phone, letting his legs flop open so the left one rested against hers. I wish I was closer, I sighed with mixed emotions. I used to always engage people at bars and coffee shops if they were open to talk. I felt the urge to go pat him on the shoulder in a motherly way and let him know that it's okay, and maybe he should try to find a girl who isn't so absorbed in her own world. Okay, Dawn, stop it. You probably did similar things as a teen, especially when you were shy and did not know how to interact well. But the poor guy is just trying to give her attention, and she's completely oblivious. I guess we all have to learn how to communicate somewhere, I thought, cringing as I remembered how one of my more recent friendships had suddenly gone so wrong. So what do you think about this scene in a coffee shop? You could imagine a lot of different situations going. Perhaps the girl was completely oblivious to what was happening, but maybe she didn't want the attention. Maybe she wasn't uncomfortable with the touch. Maybe she didn't know how to communicate that. Maybe he didn't know how to ask her to put down her phone. Maybe he didn't know how to make a connection. Or maybe they were both just distracted that day and that's what was going on. There was some level of stress and this wasn't their normal MO. This is why I feel this book can be so important to help remind each other how to connect, how to communicate. Because how different would that scene look if she said, hey, I just have to finish up this thing really, really quick and then I'll pay 100% attention to you, right? Or if she had said, hey, I'm feeling a little bit sensitive today. Can you please not touch me until we know each other better? So communication and clarity on what it is we want and what we need can make such a big impact in our lives. So I'd like you to consider that as you move through your next few dates. And once again, The Touch Crisis will be available September 1st on Amazon. I look forward to hearing any comments that you all have. Thanks.